And so the banks apparently did a pretty good job back in 2008 because they got on the case. Say, look, hey, we're illiquid, we're failing, we're about to crash. Can you slide us $700 billion? Where are we going to get it from? Check your paycheck, folks, if you work for a living. That's where they got it from. So let's not think for 1 minute that it's impossible to happen. However, this time around, it won't be bailouts, but it could very likely be bail-ins. And I'll define bail-ins to you.
And that was an excerpt from a video I did back in September 29, 2022. Take that to the bank, don't bank on it. That's about 3 minutes in, and that's designed to whet your appetite. But that's just the first step in taking us to where we're going in this current video.
Check the mic and make sure it sounds right.
Well, that was one step to get us walking into the video that I'm going to do. But to be walking, you got to take more than one step. So we're going to go to the second step. And this second step picks up roughly about 10 minutes into the video that I just mentioned.
If that isn't a wake-up call that perhaps you're just a slave, I don't think one exists. Because this is not a secret that banks are preparing for massive bail-ins. This article here, Bank Bail-ins, a $297 trillion monster hiding in your closet. I'm going to take an aside here. The Inflation Recovery Act. I think not only are they coming at your bank, you see this up 401k rollover menu up here, this thing up here. Take the acronym for Inflation Recovery Act, and what do you end up with? You end up with IRA, Individual Retirement Account. They're coming after those too. They're coming after your money, folks. And the reason being is they want to crush the little fella, and you will not resist a new monetary system. When that new monetary system occurs, it's going to be digital money. Well, then not only do they know who you are, they're going to know where you spend it. And because it's programmable money, they're going to be able to turn your money on or turn your money off or limit your money without even asking you.
And that's what's going to walk us into the topic of today's video, that IRA, individual retirement accounts, where I told you 4 years ago, well, 3.5, that they're coming after your money, folks. And this article here now is published on February 15th, that's today, 2026, where Wall Street could seize your retirement savings in the next financial crash. And it's perfectly legal. Little known changes, just like those bail-ins I mentioned in that prior video from 22. And if you want to know what it all means, go watch the video, because the information you get here is timeless. So I strongly recommend that you take just a moment to hit the like button and take just a moment to hit the subscribe button. And I think there's a little watermark over there you can do that with, and take the moment to hit notifications. I don't do a video every day. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But when I do, I got something to talk about that's probably good for you, probably good for me, probably good for us. Because a little known changes to laws allow financial institutions to claim customers' securities as collateral during a crisis. So we had the bailout. They made it so now they can bail in. That's your money in demand deposit accounts like checkings and savings. And now even your securities that you're holding in your individual retirement accounts. They're coming after your money, folks. And here at DKWILL, we have the insight to decipher that lizard reptilian talk and then tell you what they're really saying in advance. I'm not a soothsayer. I don't have a crystal ball. I'll say it again. I've said it before. I come with insight, not insider. Although I've been a little bit in the inside long enough to pick up what's been going on. So let's dig a little deeper into this article here, where Wall Street can literally seize your retirement savings. So we have a crash. They take your bank accounts with a bail-in. They take your savings accounts with your securities, And then you won't fight that new monetary system when they say, well, here's the money you can use. And the money you can use, I described in the prior video. The money you can use, they'll have control over. They cannot control cash between you and me. So let's dig a little deeper into this article from today. It's an opinion article. And since this is DK, we'll talk about it. I'll be certain to tell you my opinion. It says how Wall Street centralized ownership of your investments. Beginning in the 1970s, at the request of powerful Wall Street and banking institutions, state lawmakers quietly adopted a series of changes to the Uniform Commercial Code, a body of law enacted in all 50 states. These changes effectively allowed financial institutions to reassign direct ownership of most securities away from individual investors, including those holding retirement accounts and traditional brokerage accounts. Wow. You are no different than going to the bank and making a deposit. And I did videos recently about fractional banking where I explained that. And what you become is an unsecured lender. And now you're transferring ownership, basically transferring ownership of the securities you buy. Direct ownership of securities such as stocks and bonds was centralized within a single financial institution controlled by Wall Street's largest firms and banks, the Depository Trust Company. Depository Trust Company, or the DTC. Now, most of us have no clue that this is the case. But 3.5 years ago, I was trying to tell you, this is the case. Why this system exists and what it replaced. The Depository Trust Company sits at the center of the modern securities ownership model. Major banks and broker-dealers, with the help of a mysterious figure with a long history of working for and alongside the CIA, created DTC in the early 1970s with the stated goal of alleviating Wall Street's growing paperwork prices, so that they don't have to send you actual paper certificates when you own the stocks. No, they go on the books of the broker dealers, and they assign ownership to you virtually. Who benefits and who bears the risks? Under the current DTC model, most investors no longer directly own their securities. Instead, they hold what the law refers to as a security entitlement. They assign it to you. This arrangement is contractual in nature. It grants certain rights and protections, but it does not confer direct registered ownership. When you buy stock in a company, you do not actually acquire the stock itself. You get a set of investment rights tied to that stock. Now, that's another reason why cryptocurrency market is being attacked by the banking system. It's being attacked by the institutions because, see, they already knew this and you didn't. And a lot of people didn't know that when you gave your money to the bank, you were an unsecured lender. I guess you better come back and listen to DK Will talk about it, huh? Because I will talk about it. But that's what they did. And so now you don't even own the stocks that you think you own. And that's the reason crypto and self-custody is such a threat to them, because they don't own it. You do. When you take your cryptocurrencies off and you put it on a hard wallet or something, they don't have any access to it until you tie back in. And so they did that with the ETFs. And I've tried to say that with the ETFs. There's a bunch of videos back there with the ETFs. You don't own the asset that's in the ETF. You own a piece of paper, virtual paper, that says you have an equity interest in a conglomeration of the institution that actually owns the asset, and the performance of the asset is what you're betting on. But you never own anything. Remember the phrase? You will own nothing and you'll be happy. It's not a joke. And guess what? There's a video about that. Probably dates back longer than the one I just showed you. I'm pretty sure it does. The cards will be up above. I hope that I've helped you to see what's going on a little bit clearer. I hope I've whispered to your paradigm. And don't believe that you got it all figured out. None of us has it all figured out. But some of us have the insight to figure it out. I'm DK Will. And this is DK Will Talk About It. And I talked about it. I hope you heard me. Have a wonderful day.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.